We are Mr. the Fanboy, the most reckless force in all of the YouTube. Today, TNA Lockdown was phenomenal. The first match of the night was an X Division escape match between Max and Jeremy Buck, Amazing Red, Suicide, Brian Kendrick, Chris Sabin, Jay Lethal, and Robbie E. This was an awesome back and forth escape match. Max Buck last defeated Chris Sabin to earn a shot at the X Division title in the future. Like I said, this was a great match. It was good seeing Jay Lethal, Brian Kendrick, and Chris Sabin back on TV. Especially Jay Lethal. He hasn't been on TV since he lost the title to Kazarian. The next match of the night was Jesse Neal and Shannon Moore, Inc. versus Crimson and Scott Steiner, the British Invasion, Douglas Williams and Magnus, and versus Eric Young and Orlando Jordan in a four-way tornado tag team steel cage match. This was an awesome back and forth match, and one of the matches I was really looking forward to, but it did suck that Orlando Jordan really didn't get in the match much. I'm a huge fan of his. The next match of the night wasn't really even a match. This was Mickie James versus Madison Rayne in a title versus hair match for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Mickie James just slammed Madison Rayne's head into the cage several times, and DDT'd her, and gave her a DDT to become the new Knockouts champion. Mickie James has become the new Knockouts champion. This should have been done a long time. This should have been done a long time ago. But yeah. Next match of the night was another match I was looking forward to, and that was Samoa Joe and D'Angelo De Niro. This was an awesome back and forth match. Good back and forth action between both men. There was one funny part of the match where De Niro tried to climb the cage and Samoa Joe pulled down his tights, exposing his bare buttocks. That part was funny. I was laughing. And it was especially funny when Mike Tenay said that wasn't Orlando Jordan, that's D'Angelo De Niro. Samoa Joe wins the match with the Muscle Buster and then does the Kakina Clutch to get the win. I hope Samoa Joe or D'Angelo De Niro get a shot at the title soon. The next match of the night is Matt Morgan versus Hernandez in a steel cage match. This was an awesome match. I'm finally glad TNA is finally letting these two guys wrestle. Last year, they really didn't get to wrestle that much other than that cage match they had at Victory Road last year. But this was a good match. Matt Morgan wins the match when Hernandez tries a splat a crossbody off the top rope, and Matt Morgan catches him with a carbon footprint kick to get the win. The next match of the night was a 2 out of 3 falls Ultra Male Rules steel cage match between Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle. This was an awesome back and forth match. The first fall, Kurt Angle won with the ankle lock. The second fall, Jeff Jarrett won by pulling Kurt Angle's tights. And the third fall, Jeff Jarrett won after he tried to escape the cage. Kurt Angle grabbed him in the ankle lock and pulled him back in. Kurt Angle sprayed something in his eyes, allowing Jeff Jarrett to try to crawl back out. Kurt Angle grabbed him in the ankle lock, and Karen Jarrett hit Kurt Angle with the door, allowing Jeff Jarrett to barely escape the cage. Jeff Jarrett won the match, but Kurt Angle won the war. Jeff Jarrett won the war, but Kurt Angle won the fight. The next match of the night was Sting versus Rob Van Dam versus Mr. Anderson in a 3-way steel cage match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This was a pretty good match. It was kind of short, and I wanted Anderson, and I really wanted Anderson to win. Sting wins after he hits the Scorpion Death Drop on Anderson, who had just hit RVD with a pipe Hulk Hogan came out and supposedly gave to him. The main event was Fortune, James Storm, Chris Sabin, and Kazarian, and Robert Roode versus Immortal. Ric Flair, Abyss, Bully Ray, and Matt Hardy. This was an awesome back and forth match. Lethal Lockdown and the whole Lockdown pay-per-view is usually one of my favorite events. The Lethal Lockdown. The most memorable part of the matches were when the cage came down and Christopher Daniels and Matt Hardy climbed to the top of the cage, and Matt Hardy was about to go for a side effect on top of the cage, but then Daniels grabbed him and tried a BME. Hardy reversed it and almost back body dropped him off the cage, but but I think Robert Roode, Kazarian came to his rescue by pushing the door out so Daniels could balance himself and get back on top of the cage. Then Matt Morgan gave him a twist of hate on top of the cage. Later in the match, Daniels did a crossbody off the cage onto Abyss, and I think Matt Hardy and Bully Ray. I think Abyss and Matt Hardy. And of course, the final memorable part was the end when Bully Ray was beating on Daniels, saying, "I'm gonna do the same thing I did to you to AJ." Then AJ's music hit. He came to the ring, cleaned house, beat the crap out of Bubba, gave him a Pele. Then Ric Flair tried to attack him from behind. Storm grabbed him and put him in an armbar to get the win for his team. So Fortune defeats Immortal. This was another awesome pay-per-view from TNA. And Lockdown and Bound for Glory are two of my favorite events because they go out of the impact zone. Like I said before, this was a good pay-per-view. TNA. All right, Doug out.